What is going on, people? Ryan Leary, William Tincup here with Work Defined. You are listening to and watching, hopefully, the BARF. William, how are you today?
Ryan, I want the audience to know something that we are in Orlando at Cornerstone Connect, and we
I
are in
totally thought
hotel
you were
rooms,
going. I thought you were going somewhere else. I thought you were
as
gonna
you as you should.
tell us a story.
No. I just want people to know that we are in our hotel rooms.
Separate
We have
hotel rooms.
separate hotel rooms, and
Yeah.
so anyhow, it's going to get
Oh,
dark and all that other stuff. So
yeah.
I'm doing well. Good fly
Good,
day.
man.
Yeah, can't hate.
Good fly day. Maybe for you,
Yeah, no,
not for
I
me, because
understand.
I missed
I
my
understand.
flight.
Hey, no judgment. We're in a judgment-free
Uh,
zone. No, we're not going to do that. All right.
yeah.
So, breaking news. This is the
Yeah.
B of the BARF. This is the breaking news part. So, let me pitch you a story around that I saw that I thought was pretty interesting. Zoom CEO
Mm-hmm.
wants to use AI to create digital clones that can attend meetings for you. I found this on people.com, the magazine. So
You would read people. That's
dude, seriously. Hey, great stories can come from anywhere. So Zoom wants to create an AI clone of Ryan Leary to attend meetings as Ryan Leary.
that
What
would
do you
be
think?
amazing.
Okay. So
As
here's
long
what.
as
Okay, give it to
he
me.
sounds better than me.
Oh, you want a smarter version or
Like
more?
if he's talking about softwares, you know, then no bueno.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So, I thought when I thought about it as I read it, if an AI bot can match my darkness, sarcasm, cursing,
Hmm.
and raw intellect,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm down. Because like to get me out of a meeting, I'd be happy. Like if I could never attend a meeting again in my life, I'm
Yeah.
so happy.
Yeah.
But it's got to be me. It can't be a version of me that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
think at some point that's actually going to happen, and I don't have a problem with that. And he can literally
me too.
be in two places at one time, actually doing work and being
Productivity.
productive. Yeah, I'm down for that. I think this is where employees would need to be trained on hallucinations because they would
Yeah.
see your bot and hear your bot and think, "There's
Right.
no way in hell anybody thinks like
Right.
this."
Well,
So,
think of it like a lot of the corporations, large corporations, where you have to attend a meeting,
mhm.
and it's just you're one of 400 people in the meeting. Do you? You're never going to get called on. Do you need to be at that? Do you
well,
need to be at that meeting? No.
well, in that situation, they're actually putting presence at the meeting because you normally just log in and don't do anything, right?
And fake you're on
So,
Facebook.
yeah, whatever. So at that point, I mean, shit, why
May as
not,
well
right?
have an avatar. All right, what do you got?
I love it. All right. So I got some acronyms for you here. The ACLU asked the FTC to probe AI employment assessment tools for bias. So this is
Oh, that's
actually a
interesting.
serious. Yeah, it's an interesting and potentially very serious story.
Legit.
So the ACLU's complaint to the FTC alleges that Aon's AI-based job screening tools are biased against people with autism, disabilities, non-white candidates, etc. So
Wow.
we've seen this.
Yeah,
This has been
yeah.
in debate for a long time, ever
Yeah, but
since
ACLU, they're not going to bring a case to
that
the
doesn't have merit.
FTC that doesn't have something to it. Smoke, fire, the whole bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And AI, Aon has a ton of assessments. So this
Yeah.
could be a potential. This could be a real thing. We could see more of this type of stuff. But
Yeah. This is going to be a real thing. This particular case, I think, is going to get really messy. I mean, Aon's not a small company. They got a
no,
lot of clients,
yeah,
and so the ramifications for clients can be massive, right? They've got to be concerned with legal, with compliance, with all of this stuff
yep,
now. And so, not that I'm a lawyer, but my recommendation is just stop using them right now.
yeah,
Pause, halt, because you're on the hook as well.
that's right.
So, I thought that was an interesting story.
All right, let me give you this one. Lego, yes, those Legos. Lego announced salaried employees' bonuses will depend on emission reduction performance. So they're tying bonuses to greenhouse gases and carbon and all of that stuff, right? I found this on hrgrapevine.com. Fascinating story. I'm intrigued by the idea. So, like tying comp to other things I like. However, I'm unsure on how it'll work. And what about those that are not in a position that can truly impact emission reduction goals? So I don't hate the tie. I like that a company will say, you know what, we're going to do bonuses. We're going to do a part of your comp that's based on the company reaching certain greenhouse goals and things like that. Like I don't hate that idea. But like individual goals that like work in marketing or something like they have no impact. I don't think that's very fair. But other
How
than
do
that,
they measure? I mean, I guess how do they measure this, right? I mean, like
good point.
if my bonus is tied to somebody who's saying this is how green or not green we're going to be,
Right.
and they're making decisions not based off of total comp and all that stuff. They're making decisions based on what's best for the business at that moment.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Again,
sure.
idea, cool. How it gets implemented and how it gets measured. To your point, great point. Not sure. So let's just keep an eye on it.
Yeah. All right. So I've got one here, which I thought was pretty cool. So I feel like every time I talk about this stuff, I've got a common theme. I want the robots to take over the world. I want my clone to be in the meetings. But OpenAI they're reviving a robotics project that they once had and shuttered in 2021. So the idea here is that the program is looking at teaching robots how to perform tasks based off of observation.
Right.
Okay. So I like this idea. I think there's endless use for this. Maybe not endless, but there's a lot of use in the workplace, right? And so I really believe that in the next iteration of everything as this evolves, we're not going to be managing people. At some point, we're no longer managing people, right? We're going to be managing, I don't want to say the robot, but we're going to be managing the AI, the robot, to do the task, right? And we're going to be the strategic person behind that. And everyone's going to have their set of AI bots and their digital employees to manage, to get their job done appropriately. So, not sure if that counts as being a manager. At that point, we'll figure that out when we get there. That'll be the next conversation. But I'm glad they brought this back because I really think something like this could be interesting in the workplace.
Well, see, I think they brought it back, not just for all the reasons that you say, but because OpenAI has made so much. Think about all the traction that they've made since they shuttered that program. Right?
Oh,
think of all the data that they have, everything they've got, investment, all that stuff. So it makes sense because now they've got so much more data. At the time, they didn't have as much; it wasn't as popular, etc. So like, this is a great idea of a company going back to a project and going, you know what, we went a little early with that.
Yeah.
Now let's come back to that because that was a good idea. We just went too early.
Yeah, there's you've heard the term. Fail fast, fail forward, right? Like hire fast, fire faster type thing. This is one of those situations where they said, hey guys, this is going to be really something we should look at. Yeah. And it didn't work. So they shut it down, but they never forgot it. They put it in the parking lot and here we go. So
went on a shelf.
Yeah, let's see where this thing goes.
All right, I put this in news because I just found this site fascinating. So ADP, National Employment Report, private sector employment increases by 150,000 jobs plus. In May, annual pay was up 5%, something like that. But ADP, employmentreport.com, stop what you're doing and go and look at that website. Because
what website do I go to?
Yeah, ADP, employmentreport.com.
That's stop what you're doing. I'm going to go do it.
It would actually be really funny if you did that. So the site itself takes all their data, and when they release new data, and then you can then look at it and then select the things that you care about. So you get the charts and graphs and increases and decreases, size of company, geography, industry. Like you can see all that stuff. So it's giving the data and then announce its bid, but then it goes in and lets the user then select the things that they care about and look at that. Like if I'm in the food and beverage industry and I'm a small business, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in my particular area of the world and from an
Mm.
employment perspective. So really cool.
Hmm.
ADP employmentreport.com.
That sounded like a legit advertisement. Do that
I
again.
know, right? No, I won't.
ADPreport.com. It's like EA Sports.
It's in the name.
It sounded really good, man. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. All
Well,
right.
most of my ads suck.
Yeah, they trust me, people. When he does an ad read, good Lord. Thank God I'm not there.
It's painful.
All right. Daxtra
Mm-hmm.
in the news again. So recently they acquired Pivot CX, right? Kudos
Right.
to them
Right.
and everyone involved. They just brought on Jane Seara. I hope I'm getting your name right, Jane. She's VP of Growth Marketing. So this is a good hire for me. This is not that they need my approval, but good job, guys. We just spoke with Terry.
Yep.
Not too
Did a
long ago.
podcast.
We just did a
Inside the
podcast with
C-suite.
Terry. So I think hiring Jane is a strategic move here, right? She comes from a long background of really good B2B and SaaS plays. She's been with companies like I think she was with like HubSpot and some of the other ones there.
Cool.
So she's got a really strong background in B2B and SaaS and AI, and I think she's gonna do well here with positioning these guys because they're really positioned well.
I like it. And the reason I like it is Terry hires really well. This is something he did at PandoLogic. He brought in Jen Ravelli
Jen Ravelli,
from all the marketing stuff, and he brought in Jason Putman for all the sales stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought in these are just two masterful executives by themselves, but he builds executive teams like you want CEOs to build executive teams. He brings in big hitters.
Right.
So I love it. Good for them, and can't wait to meet and talk to Jane.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard his podcast, if you remind me, I'll put the link down here somewhere for people to go check out because it was a fantastic episode and really get insight into his journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me pitch this story to you, Ryan. Hitting snooze. This is going to be. Is this a big FU moment?
No.
This is going to.
All right, go ahead. Just tell the story.
All right. No. Hitting snooze. 50% of employees want to try Chrono Working. Now, without
what's Chrono Working?
Okay, that's what I wanted you to say. Chrono Working is aligning workers' hours and employees with their natural sleep rhythms.
Stop it.
I swear to God, I couldn't make this shit up. The goal of Chrono Working is to boost productivity to those who define themselves as early birds or night owls. And I don't hate this. And in a remote or hybrid or flex environment, it's outcome, or let's say it's outcomes based. Did you get the job done? I don't care if you got it done at 3 a.m. or whatever else. So 50% is a big number. So 50% of your workforce wants to try Chrono Working.
Of course they do.
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
of course they want to try it.
Maybe the number sounds higher. But like in person, so RTO, return to office, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have a man at return to office, that's going to be a little discombobulating because people are going to be coming and going at a lot of different times. Mm-hmm. And again, night owls, okay, I go in at 2 or I go in at like 7 and then I work, which would be great.
But does it have to be... So I have a lot of questions here. I mean, we work across different time zones, right? +7, +7, -3, whatever. So I could see a version of this, but I could also see my daughters thinking, well, shit, I don't have to be to work till 1 o'clock and I can stop working at 6 o'clock because that's when I'm tired.
Again, if the job gets done, why do we care?
To a point. A point. I think there still has to be, and maybe this is the wannabe boomer in me, but this is there still has to be a level of structure.
Does there?
Yes. Look, when Windows introduced the foldering system,
right,
I was a happy man. when foldering went away and they brought tags, and this is thank you to Avature for really just giving me anxiety for 3 years using 4 years, whatever it was I was using them. They didn't have folders, they had tags.
Oof.
And so it was just hundreds of thousands, millions of records we had and things that I had to remember and think, what do I need?
Yeah.
And I had to, but I couldn't just go to my folder.
Adapt or die. Sorry,
I died. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna die on this vine. But
I'm just telling you, Chrono Working.
Chrono Working. Yeah,
Maybe,
I guess.
Maybe. Well,
I
what are
don't
your
know.
hours? Like, okay, so let's do you and me and talk about when do you work best?
I'm up at 4:45 most days, unless I have flights, and I just decide not to get up.
You're the only one bringing that up. You're the only one bringing that up. I'm not bringing it up.
Oh God, we'll tell that story another day. So I'm usually up around that time, and then if I go to the gym, I'm good. If I don't go to the gym, I feel a little off that day. But those working hours from say 5:30 till about 8 o'clock, I can get the entire day's worth of work done in those 2.5 to 3 hours, and then the rest of the day can be used for busy work or whatever it is. But I can get everything done.
When the kids are in school, obviously we're getting up at like 6, 7, something like that. Getting what will now be van off to school. So I'll get up for that. I'll do a couple hours of work. I'm a napper. So if I see 30 minutes in my schedule, because I have a bed that's 10 feet from my desk, if I see 30 minutes, I'll go nap. I can go to sleep really quickly.
So when I can't get hold of you, I know where you're at.
That's exactly right, baby. That's right, baby. I don't put it on the calendar. I don't put nap on the calendar. I'm like, but here's the deal. I stay up till 2 every night.
Right.
So
you're a chrono worker.
I'm one of those people that so you'll get an email from me and it's like 1 a.m. and it's like, dude,
I know.
seriously.
And I accept the invites
WTF.
too. Yeah. I kind of want to get your shirt now that says chrono worker.
Chrono worker. I am a chrono worker.
I like the term. I actually like the term.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we're not hitting snooze, we've got some acquisitions to talk about.
Okay, well,
all right, so SAP takes on WalkMe to round out a few previous acquisitions. So this is a pretty big success story for these guys. Another Israeli startup taking the W. I used to call them, I used to call these guys a tooltip company. So for those that don't know, tooltips, right, the little question marks or whatever by the words, you hover over and boom, it pops up. And I remember when they started and things they were doing, and I just thought it's a tooltip company. I could never remember WalkMe, but it makes sense, the name WalkMe. Anyway, I love plays like this because I don't like, this is going to be you're going to be like, yeah, it fits you perfect. Like when I'm learning software, I don't really want to talk to a human. I want to go in and I want to tinker. I want to self-guide myself through the process, and this is what they do. So I like this play. They took a hit during COVID. They took in $300 million. They went public. They were valued at more than $2 billion. So that was a huge win at the time. So they got picked up for 1.5. So a little less, but it's a pretty big win, I think, for these guys. I think it's time for them to move on. And look, SAP, I mean, the real story here is SAP. SAP is now going to be able to guide people through this huge mess of crap and softwares that they've and they've acquired. So it's going to create a lot of efficiency within their current client base, obviously drawing them deeper into the mix, holding them, handcuffing them into wanting more.
Yeah, I think so. So again, for the audience, WalkMe is in-application training. So let's say you're doing a performance management, like SuccessFactors. So you're doing a performance review, and you haven't done one in a year. It's normally you go in, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Where are the buttons? It actually walks you through exactly what you need to do. So I like it, and I like it for all software. So a couple things. WalkMe had a huge booth at HR Tech last year.
Yeah.
40 by 40. I interviewed the CMO in December.
Because they had 300 million in the bank.
100%. I interviewed the CMO in December.
Mm-hmm.
Good guy, great technology. Here's what I think. So the analysis part, I assume SAP and SuccessFactors will use this internally for all their products, as you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think they'll take it off the market for other players because WalkMe is used in like a lot of different software.
Yeah.
Not just HR tech, but like all FinTech, all kinds of different software. But I think that to compete with the Oracles and the Workdays of the world, I think they're going to take this off of they took it off the table so that customers can't use it in those applications.
Right.
Which, if I think about that competitively, that's 1.5. Sounds like a big number. Not a big number.
Not a big number.
Not a big number with the contract sizes that they have at
Right.
that level. It makes their technology better, even better, and it also disables their competition. I think it's a great acquisition. And by the way, if you want to read more about it, TechCrunch.com has a great article on it, and that's it. I think it's a great acquisition.
Love it.
Lumapps sells a majority stake to Bridgepoint, $650 million. Doesn't say exactly how much majority, it just says majority, so 51%, let's say. That's on TechCrunch as well. Lumapps is a platform for building and provisioning internal communications and apps workforces. Essentially, they're the glue that holds Google Office or Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, Workday, ServiceNow, all of these types of things together. So you go to use Lumapps so that you can basically use all these apps together as a company. And now they have a ton of cash. They sold off a part of their business, but they have a ton of cash. So I think they're going to use that. They're going to use that cash for acquisitions.
Well,
Go Lumapps.
Lumapps for the win.
Okay.
All right. So Cronus, am I saying it right? Cronus?
Yes, you are.
They acquire a company called Imperative.
Yep.
So I like this, man. This is like a big cheese alert for me. This is one of those ones where at first I didn't love what they did, but I love what they do. So they're solving for what they call the purpose gap. The purpose activation is what they kind of labeled it. So what we're talking about here is how do you empower your employees by supporting their purpose? How all that works, I've got no clue. But what I can say is that this tells me that Cronus understands its customer base, right? They've listened and they understand that they want to evolve with their employees. So employees, as they get younger, right, and as the older generation moves out, which I've got some data that says opposite, which is interesting. So we'll talk about that later. But as the new generation comes in, the younger generation, they want to work with purpose. This is going to allow that to happen. So I like it. It's a little cheese alert, right? A little mush, but I think catering to your employees is a good thing. And if you're going to be able to leverage their potential by giving them something to work towards and a purpose, I mean, why not do it? It makes perfect sense to me.
Every time I hear the word purpose, I think of porpoise.
Porpoise.
So I have to, So
Porpoise.
I'm thinking about dolphins all the time. So Cronus, just so everyone, there is another Cronus that used to be in the market. It's UKG.
Yes, this is not the same.
But this is not the same. This is spelled with a CH. But Cronus and Imperative both serve the same market, but they serve them differently. But what I like about this acquisition is, 1 + 1 = 5. They're really good for the customers of both firms because they're going to cross-sell into. So it's a complementary acquisition. Terms weren't disclosed, so that always kind of wigs me out just a little bit, but that's okay. I think it's great, as you've already said, I think it's great for both customers of both of the firms. I think it'll make a great acquisition. So I'm going to say this cipher. It's CIPHR. That could be
Sounds right.
Sounds right. All right.
We should
Buys.
probably know. We don't pronounce names very well.
Yeah, and again, your last name's Leary, and mine's Ten Cup. So we probably don't have a whole lot of this personal stuff going on. Like,
No, but you know who can't pronounce your name?
who?
AI. Every damn time I say your no, I don't know. They get it when you say your name,
Really?
it comes up as 10
T-
cup.
T-E-N?
That's what it comes up. I'm gonna start leaving it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 Cup. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. All right, so Cypher buys Shape Payroll
Yeah.
and enhances payroll business capabilities. So this is on their website, ciphr.com. So basically, if you think of this as Euro, I think it's UK based, but we'll just use the Euro. Euro payroll fish eats another Euro payroll fish. And the payroll companies are expensive, man. I don't know if you ever looked at buying one, but the multiplier on payroll companies is out of control,
Yeah.
expensive. So they must have had a good reason to buy it, but I think what they're going to do is, at least as I'm reading through the lines, in between the lines, is they're going to flip their customers. So Shape Payrolls, either they're buying their tech, and it's just a more advanced tech, and then they're going to flip all of Cypher's to the new tech, or they're buying their customers, they're going to flip all those customers to Cypher. One or the other is basically why one payroll company would buy another. And so over time, we'll be able to get to kind of see, okay, which is which, but it's a medium-sized fish, gobbles down another medium-sized fish. So there you go.
That works.
All right.
All right. So our friends at Qualtrics conducted a survey for the folks over at Slack.
Okay.
Good title here. Slack says workers are using AI. When I say that, what do you think?
How would Slack know?
All right.
I'll start with the jaded dark part. How would Slack know? Well, why is Slack monitoring the shit I'm doing online?
Yeah. All right.
Anyhow.
So the survey was conducted by Qualtrics for them. It included 10,045 full-time desk workers across 6 countries, and this was between March 6th and March 22nd of this year, of 2024.
Right.
Excluding Slack employees and excluding Salesforce employees or their customers. Fair. Okay.
Okay.
So, yep, they held roles, executive roles, and to skilled office workers. So it was kind of like through the gamut there.
But they had to be using Slack. Is the kind of the bill. 10,000 people using Slack.
Yep. So key finding. There is urgency to integrate AI into business operations. Okay, check. We all know that. Anyway, so that's increased 7-fold since the fall. So it was 5%. Now it's over 35% from, I think it was like September, October of 23. But I'm going to read some stats to you here, so I'm going to look down. But over 2/3 of desk workers lack the AI experience or company guidelines. So that's important.
Right.
Company guidelines.
Back to the training stuff that we talked about last week.
So only 7% trust the AI outputs, but many still spend time on the low-value tasks, so tactical versus strategic. Here's why. And this is what I took from the entire survey and everything I read on it. Because they believe that leadership wants to see the output of their doing. So the lack of guidance around expectations from the company is what I think is causing this, right? But what's happening is the AI, they're bringing AI into the companies. They're pushing it through the organization. It's working. People are becoming more productive. Things are becoming more efficient. But then the employee, I'm left to say, what do I do? How do I still make a name for myself? So instead of being Ryan the strategic guide of whatever I'm doing, I'm going back in and I'm trying to disprove the AI or work alongside the AI to show that I still have value, when really leadership wants them to pull out. They just haven't set those expectations properly, and that's what this report is talking about.
So do we refer to as the AI, or is it just AI?
Yeah, the AI. I mean,
I'm going to work with the AI. Makes it sound like it's Ralph.
Yeah, the AI.
Or I'm just going to work with AI.
Work with AI.
I don't know. I don't want to parse that.
AI. If you say AI, give it a name.
Yeah.
Jessica. I'm gonna work with Kevin.
Kevin and I are going to work together.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, a couple things that come to mind when I hear this story is, Salesforce owns Slack. Check.
Mm-hmm.
Slack, of course, paid Qualtrics for this survey, right? They didn't do it for free. Is this a play to basically get more AI products integrated into the Salesforce marketplace? So that basically, and again, for good reason, right?
Sure.
So that they can get some of the low value tasks out of the way, so they
Right.
get more productivity out of people. I don't hate it. I question the source, as I always do, but I don't hate it because, I think we all say the same thing. It's like, hey, if AI can take care of this, fantastic. I'd rather it take care of it than me. But I'm also looking at a large SaaS company that has another large SaaS company, basically trying to figure out, okay, how do we get more users using our platform, and does that include either they build it in? That's something you and I talked with Yvette at Oracle a long time ago. Is it bolt in, bolt on, or is it built in? And so this could be kind of forewarning the marketplace to say, yeah, we're going to start building a bunch of AI products in Salesforce, in Slack, and that will help you calendaring and all this other stuff that's already built in. So anyhow, cool study, and again, 7-fold from September, big number, no matter what. All right, let me pitch you this one: Workplace Financial Wellness in America by Financial Finesse. FinancialFinesse.com. Take a look at them. Stressed out employees are bad for business.
No shit.
There's an 11.
I wish I could get paid to do these surveys.
I have.
I mean, look, I'll tell you what, whatever you're paying them, give me a third, and I'll tell you that your employee stressed out is bad for business. They're stressed out.
That's just, it's horrible. Turns out they don't like sweeping floors. So great companies find a way to lower stress check for employees so that they can get the most out of them. They get the best out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you a couple nuggets. The percentage of employees reporting unmanageable, that's a big word, unmanageable levels of financial stress rose by 16%. That's a big number. Unmanageable. All right. Financially stable employees with assets are pulling ahead. The percentage of financially secure employees increased by 70%, 69% specifically. So that creates, I believe, some type of gap, because they're talking about financially stable employees. So you would assume that people that are not as financially stable are probably not increasing with the same number. Last, at-risk employees are falling farther behind. The percentage of employees in financial crisis increased by 24%. This is year on year, so 23 to 24. So it's year on year data. So again, it makes sense. Like you said, this is stuff like, yeah, I get it, totally understand. But it's also stuff that we need to know, so that when we're making decisions out of our employees, it's like, okay, what can we do in financial wellness? What can we do to alleviate stress for our employees? Because they're clearly stressed out. And to your point, maybe they're always going to be stressed out. Okay. But it doesn't mean we don't try to stem the tide.
Yeah.
So, good research, financialfinesse.com. Go take a look at it.
Check them out. Okay. So, pay scale survey.
What? Yep.
Pay structures are changing to suit equity, transparency needs. So,
thank God.
This is interesting. I'm gonna have to read these because I have mixed feelings about the output here.
Okay.
But anyhow, for me anyway, the key takeaway from the article is that organizations are quickly and increasingly adopting market-based pay structures.
Right.
Embracing technology or transparency, et cetera, et cetera. But let me just pull up some stats here. I want to read these off. So,
I like numbers.
In the pay scale, in the survey, right? So 17% target above market rates. 7%
That's a low number.
target,
Yeah.
yeah, 17% target below. This number threw me
Wow.
off, and I understand why. And
Right.
I fully understand why. 41% target the middle market.
It's just the economy. It's just where we are right now. That'll
I,
change.
I get it. So what I'm kind
If we
of,
looked at the jobs, Ryan, the people that are above market, those are all jobs you
yeah,
need. So
right,
you
right.
have to you're going to have to pay them more than
You get to
the
pay them
market
more,
rate.
right?
Right.
But what I keep thinking about it, even now as you're talking, I'm like, I understand that, I get that.
Right.
But does this mean that 41% of the 5,700 companies that were surveyed are happy with status quo? Like, just give me a mediocre performer, and we're going to offer mediocre pay.
No, it's not so much about the output as it is, I think, scarcity and surplus of talent. And
Yeah.
so if you're hiring, let's say, if you're hiring a prompt engineer in Topeka,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and and they have to be in the office. So there's only so many of those in Topeka.
Right.
Okay, if you can get them at again at the middle of the market, that's usually called at market. So above market, at market, below market, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
can get them at market, well then why wouldn't you get them at market? There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. Now, if it's not a return to office thing, and you can get somebody that's clearly superior, then you go above market.
Yeah.
And again, that's the benefit of looking at hybrid, remote, office,
Right.
etc. Because salary structures are going to differ, which is going to create more inequity over the long
Yeah.
term because you're going to have people in different places making different money, and it's going to
Yep.
be male, female, black, white, the whole
Mm-hmm.
bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, not a good thing. So
Yeah,
it
and I
doesn't
get
shock.
it. I get all that. I guess that's my naivete of business. It's just like pay
No,
people, like pay them more, you get better. They have to have the skills for it,
that's it.
and different jobs require different skills. Fully understood. It just when I read it, and the more I read it, it's like it
So let
just
me ask you a question.
seems.
Because you're a sports guy,
Mm,
so how much was the last contract for Bryce?
I don't know, 350 million or 300 million or something like that.
Okay, so is he worth it?
I guess.
I mean, y'all lost
I mean,
today,
he's
but
he's he's. Thanks, I didn't see the game yet.
it was in London. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a really good game, actually.
So I mean, yeah, I mean,
You know what
you're
I'm
gonna get a
saying?
resounding yes from everybody here
Well,
in Philly.
100%, 100%. So,
Yeah.
but when you look at it, like again, Mahomes or any of our favorite
Mm-hmm.
players, when they get a payday, like the receiver
Mm-hmm.
just got a payday last week, killer contract, going to be the most expensively paid wide receiver in the market. Initially, everyone reacts the same way, like that's way too much money to pay a wide receiver or a
Yeah.
running back or a
But
defensive.
they're earning that money back for the company.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So now take that same mindset
No, I
to
get it. It just
office
seemed like
employees.
a lot. It just the way it was phrased. It just seemed like let's just give middle of the road money, but we want your top performance, and we want you to not be a chrono worker, and we want you to be in the.
You're thinking
You,
about kings and fiefdoms and just people throwing peasants.
will
Here,
you just talk about the
here's
next story already? God damn it!
here this here's some bread. Be happy, you little
Oh
bastards.
God.
All right, here's one for you. The return on well-being study. Get the
Hmm.
full ROI on your wellness program by optimizing employee participation. So this is brought to us by a company called WellHub. So wellhub.com. You can go look at the research. But this is why I think this is important for practitioners in particular. Is you always get asked these questions about ROI. What's the ROI? We want to buy this wellness software. Or we want to buy this, or we want to run
Mm-hmm.
these programs, etc. First thing you're gonna get hit with is, okay, that sounds great, love it. What's the ROI on that? And so this is actually where you can come back and give them stats. So 91% of HR leaders reported decreased healthcare costs due to their wellness programs, up from 78% in 2023. That's a great stat. Second great stat, 95% of companies measuring the ROI of corporate wellness programs see positive returns up from 90% in 2023, so another 5%. So here's the thing. Both those stats give you so look at the whole report, because it actually has a lot more stats than the ones I just gave you. But go look at the whole report. And again, this is for people that are trying to pitch either their CFO or their CHRO on why they should invest in wellness and well-being, and well-being in particular. So you got some stats that will help you with your ROI.
Invest because you care.
There you go. Well-being, turns out.
Makes sense to me. Okay, so there was something I mentioned a little bit ago, and I completely can't remember what it was, but I said I would talk about it in a little bit about older workers leaving the workforce. Not so true.
Lies.
Not so true.
Turns out that 401ks are not in a place where they can.
Yeah, no shit. So the Employee Benefit Research Institute, from here on out, we're just going to call it EBRI, because that is just too long of a name.
Way too long.
I may be confused. It's Sunday. We're traveling.
Yeah.
And now I'm being told that we need to cater to older workers and not the younger ones.
Not a bad thing.
But everyone always says you gotta recruit for the younger generation. You've gotta have employee experience and candidate experience for the younger generation.
I think you have to have it for everybody, but yeah.
You did for everybody, but in reality, 30% of the workforce is 65 years old and over.
Yeah.
That's not just that was 23%.
Well, think about what they got hit with. 2008.
Oh, I know. I get it.
They got hit with that. Then COVID. Okay, got hit there. So I think some of this is financial. I think some of this is people realizing, hey, you know what? I want to keep adding value to the company, but I want to do it differently. So instead of working 50 hours, 70 hours, whatever, I want to work 20 hours.
Right.
I want to work 10 hours. Put me as a part-time employee. Let me do mentoring.
Right.
Let me help, etc. So again, 30% of the workforce, almost a third of the workforce, is over 65. That's not a bad thing, because for me, that's
a bad thing.
Institutional knowledge.
Yeah.
And a lot of good things. But again, I think you cater to all employees.
Yeah.
Again,
you have to cater to all. You have to cater to all of them, 100%. Right. But can we maybe move off the argument that it's all about the young bucks, because you still have the 30 to 50 and 55-year-olds that are in the marketplace.
So let me ask you a question. So can you imagine a world where if you're applying to a job, pick your favorite, let's say it's GM, to put a face on it, General Motors for those not thinking about it. So if it asks you at the very beginning your age, you're applying to a job, and then it puts you on a path that's age appropriate.
I would be okay with that as long as I can be assured that I can still have access to all of the jobs.
Yeah.
But the way that it gets me there is appropriate for me. Yes, I would be okay with that.
Okay. It's we'll have to check the legality of that.
It's not going to work.
Because that might be completely illegal. However,
it ain't going to work. Yeah.
But all right.
But I wouldn't mind. See,
I wouldn't either.
I don't have patience for. I'm getting better with chatbots, right? Like, get on. Oh God, it's a chatbot. I realize now. Okay, you know what? Just stop being bitchy about it. Take the time and answer a few of the questions. Well, but if you take time and answer the questions, you actually get your answer faster than looking it up and calling, right? So okay.
Maybe.
So if I could, in essence, take, I don't know, like a 2-minute survey assessment up front.
Right.
Apply for the job. Here's your 2-minute assessment, and then it goes out and I give it access to go out and review me. Go get my social. Go get my everything. Go review me. I know it could be bad, but that then helps create the journey for me.
Go look at my internet history? Like,
Yeah.
how deep do
All
you
right,
want to
that
go
was a
down the
bad
rabbit hole?
idea. That was a bad idea. But
No,
I
but I think
prefer,
you're onto something
yeah, I
in the sense
prefer
of,
a journey. Yeah.
well, think about this. You're onto something in the sense of, we talked about earlier about bots, our
Hmm.
clones, right?
Yeah.
Attending meetings for us. If the clone knows us well enough that it can answer those questions,
Yeah.
that we might be onto something.
Yeah.
Because then it personalizes that experience based on
Ooh.
your learning style and learning differences if you have that. And
Yeah.
again, like you said earlier about technology, I want to get into the technology. I want to tinker with it. Well, then if
Yeah.
it knows, if your bot or your clone knows that about you and it answers those questions,
Hmm.
then you could have a really cool personalized experience.
So who's going to be the first company to open up
I know.
the clone, whatever we'll call it, the interview bot, where it's a clone of me and I can go in, my clone can go interview.
Dude, I
I'm
know
sure it
a
happens
guy.
today,
I
but
know a
that would
guy
be
in
amazing.
Dallas. This is back in the aughts, but I know a guy in Dallas that built a company called JobSurf,
Hmm.
who he worked for IBM, I think, and he had a company called JobSurf, and it was Indians in India that were applying the jobs on your behalf. I shit you not. So
No,
we have
the way,
lunch one day.
no, I
Yeah,
believe you about the
yeah,
company. It's
yeah.
the way
Dot not
you
feather.
said it. It was
Dot not feather. No,
Indians.
Indians.
Yeah.
I can say that I'm Cherokee. So dot not finger. Indians actually applying for jobs. So you would go in, it'd take your resume, you say, go apply for jobs. And then there would be literally Indian guys and gals going and applying for jobs for you.
Hmm.
And when you got to a point where you were in the interview phase, then it would connect you with the person.
Right.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
mean, why not?
I'm like, so I don't have to hit the buttons and do the thing. Now this is AI. No,
This is
this is
the AI
this
before the AI before the easy apply.
exactly.
Yeah.
I've got Sumit actually fucking hitting buttons for me. Yeah, I'm down with that. I'll pay for that.
Yeah. I
So,
would definitely pay for that.
all right, check this out. 2024 hearing in the workplace survey. Employees more likely to stick around if offered hearing benefits. What? So this is brought to you by True, TRU, hearing.com. So you can kind of obviously assume that this is in their best interest. Totally understand that. But when I read this, I'll be honest, I didn't know that hearing was a thing. But it makes sense for an aging workforce, but it also makes sense for parents of kids who want their kids tested, their hearing tested, and they don't want to go out of pocket. So that, when you look at it, like they just want the health plan to cover hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that doesn't make sense. So let me give you just a couple stats that go along with this. So 40% of employees report being more likely to stay with their current employer if offered hearing benefits. That's a relatively big number, 40%. 79% of employees agree that employees should offer health benefits as a part of their overall employee benefits package. That's a big number. And I think that's the number we'll stick at right there is, again, it's just making sure it's like vision or dental or, whatever. It's just making sure the hearing's brought into that. Like, we have vision. Why wouldn't we have a great hearing program? So that basically the people, again, all parts of your workforce that have hearing that needs to be tested, that need
Wait, we
assistance,
can't.
etc.
Not
Do what
hearing
now? Yeah, yeah. That was nice. That was nice. That was really, really good. Keep that in, by the way.
Did I throw you off?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, that's so great. Keep that in. Don't cut that out.
Oh.
All right, so that's it. Add
All
hearing
right.
to your benefits package. Now you have data.
There you go. Get some hearing aids in there.
What?
All right. So I've got one more.
I want to
One
do
more.
little jobs.
What?
What?
We did
Okay.
a ton of research there. I got one more.
All right. What?
Workers are staying put. This is
I saw this.
This
I
is kind
saw
of like
this.
a theme for me. Like I find stuff to be contrarian to what's out there, right? So we always say everyone's leaving. You got 2 weeks with this person before they leave and go to a new company.
Yep.
Well, turns out You're
Uh-uh.
wrong.
Okay.
So a survey was conducted in the first quarter of the year. So 72% of employee respondents said they plan to stay put in their job, marking a major change from 2022. So 2022, 53% people said, or 53% of employers said that, or employees said they were looking for a new job.
Hmm.
So times are a changing.
Yeah, this is the great. What is it when like a bug, like gets like a tick digs into your skin? So, so this
I
is
don't know where you're going with this, but
yeah, yeah.
I'm all
So this
ears. I'm
is
hearing
for
you.
me. This is employees hunkering down and
Mm-hmm.
waiting for everything to kind of fly by,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is the great kind of retrench, and again, people aren't leaving because there's just too much
Yeah.
instability, and I think during
Mm-hmm.
a year, a political, an election year, especially a
Yeah.
presidential election year, I
People are
think people are
afraid.
people are apt, and
People,
they should be.
yeah.
So
People are afraid. I think we've seen a lot of this, unfortunately, in talent acquisition. A lot of
yeah,
friends that we have,
yeah,
who thought I can go anywhere.
right,
Right? They've built up a persona. They've built up some skills. I can go from company A to B to C to
right,
D all within a month, and they're going to take me like that. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way anymore. And so I
and
think,
probably get paid more.
and
Yeah, I
probably
don't.
get paid more, right? And that's changed now. And
Yeah,
so where recruiters were once making 80, 90,000 in a corporate gig, we're making 180 and 200.
right.
They're now back down. It's still going up, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
back down, right? And so I think it was a little bit of shell shock, unfortunately. But I think that's what this is. This is, you know what? I need to be safe. I've got a family of five.
Yeah.
I've got school coming up. We've got groceries. We got this. I know I'm going to make X amount every month. I'm happy with this. We're going to ride it out. I think we're back in that mode, and I think it'll change, of course. Um, but the final stat there that I found to be interesting, there's a lot in there, but the final stat that I found interesting is that only 11% of the people said they were open to hearing about new opportunities.
Oh, hell no. No,
Yeah.
you listen. I always take the interview.
Oh, absolutely.
Always
Yeah.
take the interview and
I think
listen.
people are genuinely afraid. I just
Yeah,
think they're afraid to make a change.
that
They
is a
just don't
number
know
that is
what's going to
terrifying.
happen.
No,
Yeah.
I always take the interview. Always take the call. Always take the
Hmm.
interview, even if you have no intention of moving forward with it, just to see what you're worth.
Yeah.
I
No,
think it's
absolutely.
always a positive thing. So last research, and this is brought to you by this is Visier. Visier's report. Managers know that AI tools make them more efficient. Can HR deliver? Surveyed 750 people managers globally that revealed the clear finding that generative AI powered tools can empower them to become better leaders. Tracks, right? Makes sense.
Hmm.
Visier.com, go look into research. So it makes sense to me. Managers know that AI and Gen AI can help, but might not know how to make it work for them. Here are just a couple cents. So AI is seen as a net positive addition for the flow of work. An overwhelming 87% of respondents
Hmm.
expressed excitement. Okay, so that's a big number. 87. There's an excitement around AI, Gen AI. Great. Managers express overarching desire to make better data-informed people decisions. 96% of responses agree to that. So
Mm.
that's fantastic. AI adoption. 64% of respondents saying that they have already used Gen AI tools to support their roles of people managers. 49% said they already used Gen AI to write performance reviews. So put that up,
Nice.
put that on a sticky note. 50% basically, they're using AI to write performance reviews. I really want to see how that plays out. So 81% of the responses overall say that they have access to Gen AI, and time savings by AI would flow back to them. 36% saying they'd direct their energies to planning, and 36 on coaching their team. So long way. We'll deal with the performance review in just a second. But basically, net net, They believe, it's 750 different people leaders, they believe that AI is a good thing and that it's going to give them their time back. Now, I question that from this perspective. How much time are they going to have to use to learn the tech so that they can get their time back? So I'm, of course, jaded, a bit cynical about these things. So I think they're going to have to use more time initially to then get the time back. So check
Initially.
right. But here's the deal. The technology is moving so fast, I don't think it's just initially. Because by the time you've mastered one, there's another thing that's come out that's better. So now you got to go master a new tool. And then there's another tool. Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. A third of these people are thinking, oh, they're going to get their time back and they're going to use it on planning or they're going to use it on coaching. I don't think they're going to get their time back. So all this hope and optimism, yeah, I don't think that. I mean, first of all, I love it that people are optimistic. That's fantastic. I just don't think it's realistic. I think that they're going to have to continue to learn new shit. And as they have continued to learn new shit, they're not going to get that time for planning. They're not going to get that time for coaching. So
I think they will be happy.
So what do you think about it, writing performance reviews? So,
I mean, look, performance reviews, I like. I'm not gonna lie.
No,
I like it.
You use ChatGPT, right? So do I.
Yeah.
So can you imagine Can you imagine using ChatGPT to write William Tincup's performance review?
Look, if I could put all that stuff in there, copy paste, and it comes out and says, "Yes, yes, I can."
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah,
let's go on to funding.
All right, we're going to blitz through the fundings. Let's go.
All right, here some dollars are spent this last week, babies. AI for recruiters, CARV, secures 9.1 million in seed funding. That's in euros, so it's basically $10 million in the US. That's Silicon Canals, they're Amsterdam based. That's why. So Berend Roth is one of the co-founders, and was one of the co-founders and CEO of Harvard. So don't bet against Berend. So that's kind of the bit there. They launched in March.
Yep.
March.
Hockey stick.
Yeah. So they just got $10 million in seed. So that's a huge seed round. A. B. That was only 3 months ago. Right. So these folks they're coming to market and they're coming fast. Rocket ship.
Let's get it. Okay. Andela announces a $200 million Series E. So this is led by SoftBank, and they're going to use this to enhance global remote engineering recruitment. So this is important for HR and recruiting. It supports scaling remote work, which is kind of what we all been talking about the last couple of years. So post-funding, expect innovations in global hiring, broader talent services. They've got a lot of things that they do not currently do that I think that they will do. So I think that's going to expand a bit. But your general services, I think that you see in the hiring process that they'll just start to offer. But that's a big number. And
it's a huge number.
Yeah, it's a huge number. And yeah, I mean, there you
go. I typically look at things that SoftBank gets involved in. They find a way. I don't know how, but they find a way to make their money back. So
because that's what they do.
Yeah, but I mean they take a lot of risk, man. That's a Series E. There's a whole lot of investors that are in there by that time. When you come in at that stage, and that's usually where they come in. It's just the cap table is whacked out. It's crazy by then. And so, okay, how are they going to get their it's not 200 million back. They want to get $1 billion back because they want at least 5x return on their money, if not more. So how are they going to get that back? And SoftBank has a way of doing it more successful than not. So good for them. Good for the customers of Andela as well. Our friends at Ashby raised $30 million.
Yeah, they sure
Series C.
did.
So there's a note from Benji, one of their co-founders, on their website, ashbyhq.com. And he kind of just lays it all out. I really like the note from the CEO or the co-founder that basically says, here's why we took on money, here's what we're going to do with the money. And then at the end of it, he goes, now we're going to get back to work. And
Yeah,
I just his authenticity kind of comes out and his
yeah.
emails and stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
like that. So they've been killing it for a couple of years now because they started in analytics and then added an ATS to analytics.
Right.
Whereas some ATSs start as ATSs and then they add analytics to their ATS.
Hmm.
Not to say that one's right or wrong or anything else. They just did it a little bit different. So I think they're going to continue to get pulled up market and compete more with the folks that we know and love at
Yeah.
Greenhouse and iSIMS and JobVite and maybe
Uh,
even Workday. They do
And
have a Workday practice, by the way.
I
Ashby
and I do
has a
think
Workday
they're
practice.
going to do well.
Yeah, I do too.
People love these guys.
They do.
Yeah,
They're
they're
like
clean.
Loxo in that
They're
sense that
efficient.
people like them.
They've built their following quietly, and I think we're going to hear a lot more of them.
All righty. Let's congratulations to Ashby. Spectrum Life closes 17 million euro investment round to accelerate international growth. So Spectrum Life is it's Spectrum dot life. I didn't know that there was a dot life domain.
Mm.
Anyhow, there is. So Spectrum dot life. You can go there and read a little bit more about it. They delivers clinically backed digital health, mental health, well-being solutions for organizations for their people. So I love that mental health is getting in mental health software plays is getting more funding. So just in general,
Yeah.
as I look across the wire, I love when firms like this get funding because first of all, it means that investors are going to make sure that they get their money back. And it puts the emphasis on rightly so, it puts an emphasis on employees' well-being and mental health. Not a bad thing. So you already hit the little dollar sign. Could you hit it again real quick?
Yeah, something's crazy going on. I'm going to turn my phone off too.
All
I don't
right.
know what's happening.
Vibe IQ raises 6.3 million for and appoints new CEO. So Vibe IQ. So go and take a look at vibeiq.com. So you can kind of understand what they do. It's project collaboration software. It's not sexy. Never is, never will be. But it's critical to teams that use it daily.
Yeah.
So when I first read this, I'm like, first of all, they get funding, so 6.3 million, great, fantastic. And then they appoint a new CEO. I'm like, sounds like a VC wanted a different direction. Well, once you dig into it, you find out, okay, well, Brian was one of the co-founders. So they just switched out one co-founder to another co-founder. So that happens from time to time. And sometimes it's just, one person kind of ran it to a certain place. Now it's time
Hmm.
for another person to go run with it. And so I like that because this person's been there the whole time. It's not some VC plant that comes in there and has got to kind of get things
Right.
in shape. It's just another co-founder.
Hmm.
So anyhow, go take a look at them. Vibe IQ, project collaboration software.
All right.
Plancraft secures 12 million euros funding to digitalize European labor industry.
Got a lot
So
of
this is,
Europeans this week.
why hate? Why hate? Money's money, baby. So plancraft.de. So when you go and look at this, first of all hit the English button so that you can read it in English and it's not in German. So this is actually really cool. So the business case for funding is like this: the trade industry, which they call the craft industry in Germany, it includes construction and roofing, carpentry, so all the jobs that you would think is a trade craft here in the United States. It faces significant changes, government bureaucracy, labor shortages, all this kind of stuff. And so Plancraft's going into that very specific space and doing the digital transformation part of that market. So you look at it, you say to yourself like, okay, so you're in France or Germany. Let's just pick a country, and you look at like workers that aren't digitalized, and then you say, okay, we're going to digitize everything in their life, and that the impacts of that is going to, it's going to help everybody. It's going to help employers. It's going to help subcontractors. It's going to help everybody. So I love it. Now the planned craft, again, in Germany, they call what we would say trades crafts. So that's the name, planned craft. That's what it is. So 12 million in euros. That's probably 14 million in dollars. Yeah, don't hate. All right, Rising Team raises 8 million Series A and introduces personal AI leadership coach for building high performance teams. So this was on innovativehumancapital.com. Go take a look at it, read. So to me, the rich get richer in the sense of this is actually something built for high performers. So it's an AI coach for high performing teams and high performing individuals. So now we might hate that. However, a lot of people in HR believe that 80% of the value comes from 20% of the workforce. So then you look at your high performers, your high potentials, all of that stuff, and you say to yourself, how can we make them better? If you can make them 1% better, that actually has impact.
Right.
And so I think what they'll do, what my guess is, what they'll do with Rising Team is once they get that group of people coached up, if you will, then they'll start to bring it down to middle management, down to front line, right? So eventually, everyone, to your point, everyone will have a coach, and everyone will be able to be in that place. But they got to start somewhere. They're starting with the best talent.
Yeah, well, and making the top performers 1% better, right? Warren Buffett did this famously with Coke or Pepsi, whichever it was. It was Coke, where he bought it and just raised it a penny. Right? And you make a lot of money. That's 100%. It. Don't change a thing because it's working fantastic. We're just going to make it that much better.
That's it. That's it, baby. That's all I got.
That's all we got. So thank you all for watching, for listening. We are, again, if you got this far in and you're in Orlando, you should probably come see us because you 100%. Invested a lot of time. We'll be at the, where are we at? We're at Marriott, right? Yeah, we're at the Marriott.
JW Marriott.
JW Marriott. Bonnet, because there's more than one, in Orlando for the next couple of days. So come see us. We'll talk to you soon.